Can you describe the K-12 program in a word or a phrase?
In one word, I can say it's beneficial.
Time consuming.
Relevant.
Stressful yet useful. It is exhausting.
Preparedness.
Additional fees.
Hep hep! Before anything else, let us first watch a story of a success that was based on the educational journey of Marilyn Liliaga.
Since I was a high school student, I wake up at around 3 in the morning and start walking for school at around 4. I have to walk for 1 hour just to reach to our school. And thankfully, I finished high school with honors.
And when it's time for me to go to college, this happened. Pa, sabi ako mas pila college ha?
Di na oy, wa may ning datuan ng eskwela. Usa pa, di angay sa bayan ng eskwela. Mapinyo raman sad. Gasto lang, di mahuman.
Pa, una-una ba? Kung college ko, kung sige na ninyo nga course, mo man po akong i-take.
Ano ka, uy?
Hindi ko kasi pila college, oy. Wala yung paspila na ako.
Huwag nila ako manarbaho din. Legit sa Manila, magtrabaho tayo ko as a service.
Sige ba? May na lang po kay magbili mo ko nila pa eskwelahon, di manarbaho na lang po.
Wala din ko'y pag-asa ni eskwela daw ko, wala ko'y gasto na ako.
Ma, gusto dyan kay kung makauman ng college ba?
Hindi na lagi, bugaw na sa gasto, may pag-manarbaho ka.
Nga nung unahon ko din panarbaho. Uy nga, eskwela mo natadaan sa trabaho. Uli na lang ako sa amo. Inyo na lang ko. Pa, gusto na dyan kay kung mas kilag college pa. Kung ganahan mo pareho sa uban nga. Inyo din, isang lisura. Gusto ko mahawas ang daan ng kalisura.
Kung ako lang, musugot ko nga muskwila ka. Pero, ina sa imong mama, sa iya panangkin, basta kay ako, suporta ko ana imong gusto nga makapaman kong college.
Wala na si Papa. Samot na dyan ko di kaskilaan eh. Ani man ako kinabuhi eh. Imbis nga, kita na ko og chance nga makaskila. Ma, makaskila pa ka kung college mo. Kaskila na dyan kay kung college mo ba?
Na, di na, may tabok Marilyn.
Magtipid lagi ko ma.
Huwag magiging ka tong buhi, may mong papa. Kasi na lang ako na yung buhi ninyong. Ninyo tanan.
Ay ma,
So, man na ito nabigay sa may mong gasto, anak.
ma, hapit na ba ang kuwan sa eleksyon sa barangay? Apil na lang ba?
Na, may tabok
Pero
nga
kung
madakong
sino
ta.
ka?
Marilyn, uuruin ka nga. Wala gasto na politika.
Ay ma, ug madaog ka ma, maka-scholar na ko, ug scholar na ko, di maka-college ko.
Sige, kami ba?
Ma, dili mo na problema ma, kay magpunan lang kung tagamay ma, di dagan mo tagkailagod, magtabang lagi may kumpanya.
Ay, kamu ko?
Nagtabang-tabang mi sa akong igsuon pagpangampanya. I was inspired to do so because of the thought that I can finally go to college once my mother would win in the barangay election. And thankfully, she won. I can now go to college as a scholar. I started going to college at the age of 22, but I can't take my dream course as flight stewardess. But anyways, I took general education as my course for first year college, then shift to Bachelor of Science in Computer Science.
Ma, third year na ito ko ma, hapit na yun. Expander, jud kaya din. Jud kaya sa mga gasto ko naman din. Ma, ano lisod man ma? Kung sa ganun lang ito kayo sa balay mo, ano ba ganun lang sa living house? Ayun, kung saan pa, nagatipid po ko sa mga allowance.
100 na pa. Ako ang konta dili. Dili na dyan ni kaya. Ito sa imong third year pag-intra.
Ma, kung na yung mga expenses, gamay na lang man dyan kayo. Please ma, supportay ko, gamay na lang dyan kay kulang na ako.
Uy, ayaw undang eskwela o college ha.
Dili na dyan kaya, uy. Nagkalisod na dyan kayo.
Don't worry, oy, di naman sad ka mapalit og uniform and other things.
Dili mo gud ang sa entrance mo, boy. Wala may pambayad, ana.
Ay, tell your mother na lang nga pahulman tika og kwarta, then you pay it at the end of the sem.
Sige, kay mo eskwela dyan ko, oy.
I got enrolled sa third year with the help of my friend that let me borrow money for my entrance sa college. And there are people that really aids my financial crisis throughout my journey. There's this mysterious someone nga nagahatag na ako og load from time to time. Then as may diskarte, I sell it to my friends and classmates without knowing that certain someone is my future husband. They say that kahirapan is not a hindrance toward success, pero lisod jud kaayo ang journey sa pag-eskwela pag way kwarta oy. But despite that, I still got my bachelor's degree for computer science, and I am now working at a well-paying job that can provide the needs of my family. I am Marilyn Nimyaga, and this is the story of my life.
That's it. That's enough for the story of the success. Let us now proceed to the real deal.
We asked selected individuals random questions about the K-12 curriculum, and these are the responses.
This is from the perspective of someone that did not experience going through the senior high school throughout their educational journey.
The first question is, do you think that the addition of 2 years to our country's educational system does an improvement to Filipino students on becoming globally competitive employees?
According to Mr. Tiad, that as the knowledge they gain for 2 years is good, but our government or country is not yet ready to in terms of employment status. Most of the company or agencies prefer the 4 year course that will cause of more hardship to the livelihood of our citizens. Meanwhile, Mr. Gerson Alvarez says that yes, it is true that the addition of 2 years to our country's educational system has become a burdensome and has resulted on a long time spent on schooling and also on additional expenses for parents. But on the other hand, it also helped Filipino students on becoming better individuals, and it has a positive effect that is a result of a real living method. With this, it equipped and increased the knowledge of the students, and they can be ready for the work of our world, and they become globally competitive to any aspects of life. While Mr. Roger Alvarez also states that this program is effective in preparing every students in our country to be globally competitive and to mold them to be potentially equipped with the knowledge, skills, and attitude in order for them to become a good leader in the future. But somehow many parents, especially the poor Filipinos, are not happy of this program because for them it's an additional burden financially. The next question is, do you believe that a K-12 program helps the Filipino students, or does it bring more hardship to the livelihood of the citizens? Mr. Ken Martiad states that the addition of 2 years of education has a significant effect in terms of knowledge and theory they imparted to our students. But when we say globally competitive employees, I think it's a no, because as we all know that the system of education in our country is not as advanced compared to other countries. We also asked them with a question that the DepEd Secretary, Sara Duterte, has been talking about the revision for the K-12 program. What can you say about this? If so, what are your suggestions? Mr. Ken Martiad's response was, the ideas or plan in the revision of the K-12 program is good, but for me, the revision of the said program must be concise on its purpose and implementation. Introduce advanced programs that focuses on their skills to become more effective. Mr. Gerson Alvarez states about the revision for the K-12 program that was discussed by the DepEd Secretary/Vice President Sara Duterte is that I have no objection with this matter because Sara Duterte also sees the need for the real world and it needs cooperation. And this is also a good perspective for our Filipino students and for the country's development, especially when we talk about the system of education. According to Mr. Roger Alvarez, we should support her in revising the K-12 program. And as a Filipino citizen, I humbly suggest that before adding another level in our educational system, Sara Duterte should prioritize first the needed materials and equipments in our school. Because from the start of the K-12 program, I personally saw it in television that DepEd is not well prepared in the new educational system. That is why there are circumstances that students are not improving due to lacking of equipments and materials. The last question is, what do you think is the difference between the educational system you've experienced and the system currently?
According to Mr. Tiad, the educational system now is much way better and easier as an experience before, with the fact that it adds more knowledge to our students. But as for employment, our country is not yet capable or ready. According to Mr. Gerson Alvarez, there's a big difference between the past and the present system of education. When there was no K-12 program, there was always a talk about us having a low quality of education. And now in the new educational system, through this program, the student will become fully developed and totally equipped with skills and knowledge, and they would become ready for their future work. globally. Mr. Roger Alvarez's response was, when we compare this program to what I have experienced in old educational system, it is very easy and convenient for my parents to support me financially. Unlike this new educational system, it may not be a problem for some rich Filipinos, but it is an additional financial burden for many poor Filipinos. And the disadvantage of this new educational system is after elementary, it will take 6 years for you to go to college, because I know many students will decide to finish college than K to 12, because here in the Philippines, our company have a very high educational standards in employing professionals.
How about the perspective of someone that experienced the K-12 program? Let us also ask individuals that had gone through the K-12 curriculum.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Marjal de la Cruz, and we're doing this interview for our ARPAN documentary project. Is that okay?
Okay.
So, our first question is, unsa ang gikantampong kaayuhan sa K-12 program sa imong pag-eskwela?
Ang ikatampong salamat sa nindot nga pangutana para sa kuha sa pagtubag sa mga pangutana. Dako jud kay katampo ang K-12 tungod kay kung sa nilungagan pa mo ni kinini ang mas mupaayo pa ba sa ato ang mag-eskwela para mo proceed sa level sa college. So next question.
For our next question, unsa ang epekto sa K-12 program sa journey sa imong pag-eskwela?
Ang epekto sa K-12 sa journeys kong pag-eskwela mao ang pagpalambo sa kong panghuna-huna. Tungod kay sa regla sa kininiang college, doon na manggod siya kininiang hierarchy sa o stages sa kininiang kahibalo. Mao na nga sa wala pa ka proceed og college, giluto sa imong kaugalingong panghuna-huna in grade 12, 11 to 12 para mo proceed na ka into college para press kay mong huna-huna o niya makatabang sabne sa pagdevelop into college level. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Marjal de la Cruz, and I'm here doing an interview for our ARPAN documentary project. So, is that okay?
Okay.
First question, sa imong obserbasyon, nakatabang ba ang K-12 program sa mga Pilipinong estudyante o nakapasamot lamang kini og duot sa mga katawhan sa kalisod?
Para nako, ang K-12 program sa mga Pilipino na uban nakatabang, napoy uban dili. Kay for example, para nako graduate ko og TBL nga strand. Dayon, ang TBL nga strand required mukuhag in situ para magamit na to pohon pag pang-apply sa mga trabaho. May mo na tong skills pag pang-apply, pero para nako nahimo siya nga time consuming sa akong pag-eskwela. Kay imbis karon panahon na graduate nako, nakapang-apply na og trabaho, pero karon ga-eskwela gyapon ko kay tungod sa K-12 nga time consuming siya. Nya usapod nahimo siyang nakaingon ko nga time consuming siya kay kato nga 2 years na akong pag-eskwela. Silbi nahulog ra to siya nga silbi experience na nako to nga strand nga akong nakuha kay sa ato nga panahon sa tawagan na kato siya nga strand nga akong nakuha nga skill, di nako to siya magamit pohon mga apply ko kay wala sa among school dili man nila required mukuha in situ, wala man nila gi-push ang student nga mukuha in situ. Mao na nga kato nga panahon time consuming ito sa para nako kay dapat karon manan ako eskwela nakapang-apply na ako sa akong trabaho nga gusto.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. For our next question, do you think that the K-12 program is relevant?
Para nako, ang K-12 program sa masong giingon sa primerong pangutana, importante para sa uban. Pero para sa kuang opinion, nahimo siya nga usa ka babag sa estudyante nga madali siya pag-graduate para pag-pang-apply siya sa akto nga trabaho. Kaya nga usapod nahimo na siya nga gasto, nadugang sa gasto sa mga ginikanan nga pagpa-eskwela sa mga estudyante, labi na sa pagpa-eskwela sila mga estudyante sa mga pribadong eskwelahan. Bintaha tong naka-eskwela sa mga public kay males ilang gasto apan ang panahon sayang.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Marja de la Cruz, and we're conducting an interview for our documentary for our ARPAN project. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. For our first question, the question is, what do you think is the disadvantages and the advantages of the K-12 program?
So, para sa ako, ang advantages sa K-12 program is kanang nag-offer mo gud siya og kanang, di ba, nag-offer siya og academic track og TVL track, and then mas makatabang siya para sa preparation nimo in college, especially of mo take ka og kanang academically like 4-year course og dili pud ka gusto kay inig after nimo sa K-12 gusto na ka manrabaho na naka-experience daan kay na mag-offer mo siya og TVL track, which is katong mga food technology, garments, na naka-skill daan, din makakuha na pud ka daan og kanang ilang gitawag nga NC2 program, and then you can go to abroad para makakuha na makakita na jud ka og trabaho. And then ang multi-advantages. Ang disadvantages is kanang time consuming kayo siya bitaw dayon murag ang uban para sa ilaha is kanang time bitaw nila murag nasayang lang sa K-12 kay murag wala nila natagay og importansya ba, so para sa ko ang disadvantages is nagdepende lang gyud po siya sa opinion sa imuha as a student kung nakadabang ba siya sa imuha or wala.
Thank you so much. Hello, ma'am. I'm Marja de la Cruz, and we're doing this interview for our ARPAN documentary project. So, is that okay?
Yes, it's free.
For our first question, in your perspective, does the K-12 program helps the Filipino students, or does it bring more hardship to the livelihood of the citizens?
Back when I was in grade 4 in my elementary years, when K-12 curriculum was implemented into our country, I was really overwhelmed with what are the advantages of that certain curriculum, since it was stated that if a certain student will graduate a K-12 program, then there are many advantages like the NC2. It will help them have a privileges on the other country, specifically for the OFWs. And however, now that I went into grade 11 and grade 12, it really had a big impact on the livelihood of the Filipinos, specifically the financial stability of the Filipino. We cannot assure every student to have really a stable financial. Instead, it did have a big impact, like some student can go to college and just stop for grade 12. And it's very complicated since there are many advantages, but when a certain individual apply to a company or any other organization, there are many standard requirements like a baccalaureate degree. So it's very disadvantage to these students who only graduated on a K-12 curriculum. So all I can say is that it really had a big impact, and it also have a advantage to those people who can't afford college for their children.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Now that we know about their views and opinion from the different perspective with distinct experience, let us also ask the point of view of someone that are currently going through grade 11 and 12.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Marja de la Cruz, grade 10 student, and we're conducting an interview about the K-12 curriculum for our ARPAN documentary. Is that okay?
Yes.
So, for the first question, what was the significance of the K-12 program with your studies?
So, ang importante din sa K-12 sa akong pagtuon kay nakatabang yun isa sa pag-andam sa atong pag-eskwela bitaw, like pras anang natay kung unsa atong ganahan na kurso makatabang na siya, like makapili tag unsa nga strand atong pilion, like maghimo kag doktor. So kaning dapat ang atong pilion na strand is STEM jud kay aron ma-prepare yung imuhang mga unsay bihatonon about ana nga kurso jud. Tas makatabang yun na siya sa mga tanang estudyante nga dili bitaw makalitan yung diretso sa college kay naka-prepare na about ana silang mga unsayon ilang jud kwaon na kurso jud.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. For our next question, if you have the opportunity to choose between going through the K-12 curriculum or the past educational system, which one would you choose?
So, ang akong pilion di ay is dapat na K-12 kay kung ato bitang wala ng K-12 daghan po mga maestra or mga teachers nga mawalaan bitaw pog trabaho. Tas usap pod atong sama sa akong giingon ganina, kung walaon pod nato ang K-12
ang atong mga estudyante makalitan pod sa og makalitan pod pagka yung mudritso sila college kay syempre ang kanang naji kito 12 mo to kung gingon niya maka-prepare jud ta sa atong mga kurso nga pangkwaon like atong gingon ako ganina.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Marja de la Cruz, and we're here to ask you some questions about the K-12 curriculum. So, is that okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, for the first question, what are the advantage and disadvantages of the K-12 program?
To me, I think the advantages would be so that especially us in here in senior high, we are ready to go, it's like preparing for the college course, depending on the course you choose, depending on the strand that you choose. So the disadvantages would be that para sa ako, in my opinion, dugay mi maka-graduate, dugay mi makaabot og college kasi ako agali murag nahasol po ko ani-ani kay nang gusto na kay ko mag-college pero dili ko ka college pa kay makaagi po kog duha ka tuig which is dugay kaayo di pareha sa una nga 18 na sa una mga 18 years old kay college na unya ako 18 ako pero senior high pa ko.
Okay, thank you for that answer. For the next question, if you have the opportunity to choose between going through the K-12 curriculum or the past educational system, which one would you choose?
I would choose katong past educational system because like I said earlier, kuan kanang madugay mi graduate, madugay mi kuan niya. Ano manggod kanang basta murag ang senior high para sa ako murag makadugay manggod pod siya.
Hello, I'm Marja de la Cruz, and we're here to ask some questions about the K-12 curriculum. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. For the first question, are you agree or disagree with the K-12 curriculum?
Yes, I agree kay K-12 is a big help to students like me to provide for a more sufficient time bitaw para like makahuna-huna jud kung unsay kanang course nga i-take up sa college para like ano jud nimo imuhang course kung nabaliha imong passion, and then maka-help po siya sa students to enhance their basic skills and then prepare them for the upcoming higher education.
Hi, I'm Marja de la Cruz, a grade 10 student, and we're here to ask some questions about the K-12 curriculum. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. For the first question, does the K-12 program really molds the student into being globally competitive individuals?
To be globally competitive in this world, we are evolving, and K-12 program really prepare the students for this competition where we are evolving through the world. And also, this is a preparation for future works, for future profession. So, to be globally competent and competitive in this world, since we are evolving, the students and through the program, K-12 program, the system is also evolving. Thanks to K-12 program, a new system in our education where we are molded, we are prepared, and we are preserved for the future of this world.
Thank you. For the next question, if you have the opportunity to choose between going through the K-12 curriculum or the past educational system, which one would you choose?
I would choose the current system of our education, which is having the program of K-12, because it really is, though there are years for the 2 years, specifically 2 years for this educational system, but it is really efficient for the students to be molded for future education, which is college, as well as through K-12. By experience, from junior high, we never really tackle about thesis and other profession on what major we will be focusing on. But through thanks to K-12 program, we are prioritizing the major for our profession for future work. So it is really efficient for learners to have the K-12, and I believe that I'd choose more on this current system of the education.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Marjo de la Cruz, and I'm here to ask some questions about the K-12 curriculum. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. For the first question, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the K-12 curriculum?
Well, actually, the advantages of the K-12 curriculum is that it helps students to prepare for their college, for their desired college courses. And then
the disadvantages of it is, of course, it takes time and it time consuming.
Okay, thank you for that answer. For the next question is, are you agree or disagree with the K to 12 curriculum?
Well, as of now, I agree since it really molds us. It helps us to prepare for our college courses.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Marja de la Cruz, and I'm here to ask questions inclined with the K to 12 curriculum. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay. The first question is the addition of 2 years to our country's educational system does an improvement to Filipino students on becoming globally competitive employees.
As I see about it, 2 years extension of study gains more knowledge and gives students more extension about their study, especially with their specific course on college. But on our country's problem, we have poverty and financial problems. So additional 2 years in senior high gives more hard time with parents with their financial problems. Instead of focusing sa college na, napay senior high gadungag-dungag. And as I see, it doesn't really improve the students' capacity when it comes to Filipinos industrial works. Wala siya kuan kay ang senior high mag-give raman na slag knowledge to college. Dili siya specific jud. So, dili kay siya makatabang to industrial kay asa tong paglantaw sa unang panahon wala may senior high and the same ra mangyapon ang Philippines hantod ron.
Thank you so much. In this documentary, we witness different opinions from different perspectives. This clears up the known long discussion about the K-12 curriculum. It may not be convenient for everyone, but it surely brings up the betterment of our country's quality education. Surely there are flaws to the system, but let us all work hard for the development of it. Thank you so much. That is all. Preparedness or hurdle.